What is going on, everyone? We are now officially live over the interwebs, and this is going to be a first for a lot of reasons. One, I'm using different software, so do not be surprised that there might be a hiccup or two. Hopefully, everything should go smoothly. If not, we're just going to wing it as per usual. How is everyone doing this evening? We're going to check up on to make sure that the chat is working appropriately here, real quick. All right, good for you, Scott. All right, so it looks like chat is coming up. And so,
Awesome.
what we're going to be doing is interviewing and getting all the info that you are going to hopefully even think to wonder about when it comes to purchasing a new topper for your Godzilla machine. Now, I have the Electric Playground here. They developed, designed, created the recent TZ topper for your Twilight machine that has gotten amazing reviews from people that have purchased it. I think it's definitely one of the best toppers that you could possibly get for, you know, any machine right now. It's up there. It's up there, guys. When it comes to mechanical and just how awesome it is, I was definitely behind it and wanted to support it with every fiber of my being. And I think anybody that owns a Twilight Zone would agree on that. So without further ado, I have Rob and Alec here with the Electric Playground, and we're going to get right into it, guys. How are you this evening?
Awesome. Thanks for having us, man.
Good. I'm
Yeah,
glad
great to
that
be here.
glad to have you here. And it's one of those where just recently we had a topper reveal for Godzilla, and it was mixed reviews. We'll just say that as very mixed reviews
What are
on
you
that.
What are you talking about? It's awesome.
Yeah, it was a banger. What are you kidding me? Blowing minds over here.
Yeah. So it's one of those where you were well aware that the topper that was going to be released by Stern was coming out very soon. So you knew that hey, you got to at least show what you're working on for the public and everything
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
And so what I've enjoyed so far about speaking with you guys and working with you is that you are very receptive to public input. So as much as you would love to say this is our topper, it's done. If you don't like it, shove it. You're actually like, hey, here's what we're working on. What do you think? And you're taking the feedback and you are even making adjustments. And that's what we're going to go over a little bit tonight also on stream is that you're going to have pictures and show us what version 1 is and what changes that you've made and why.
Yep.
And
yeah,
of course,
yeah. We wanted to get it out there, and we've got a bunch of stuff to show you guys. So yeah, keep going.
so it's all awesome that we're going to be able to have also a Q&A for those of you out there that I know you've got questions. You're going to want to know how this works and everything like that, because something that they're going to be speaking about is how this is the first modular topper for a pinball machine. And you're like, oh, what does that mean? Well, then you're going to get all that information here later in the stream. They've only given me a little bits and pieces of it. I've even just recently seen some news things that this topper does that I'd never seen before on this topper. I was like, I didn't know it did that. So it's going to be really cool to see the feedback from you guys on this also. But I guess what I want to know is why Godzilla? I mean, it's one of those things where maybe you could explain to us. First of all, I think anybody who wants to design a product for pinball machines, especially on old ones like you did with TZ, you're taking a risk because you're touching on a machine that a lot of people have a special emotional bond to. And now you're going to be touching a machine that is very popular and modern to today, let alone something from years ago. So it's like, what goes through your mind? What makes you think that you can do something like this with Godzilla? I mean, like, you must be insane to go, you know what, we're going to deal with the people on the flashback.
I'm going to take this one because I think we are those people. That's the best part about this business for us is that we are the fans just as much as everybody else. And we both purchased Godzilla on the exact same day. We picked them up from the exact same distributor. He took box A. I took box B. I got the absolute short straw. My game has had nothing but problems. His game has been flawless. It still plays 1,000 times better than mine. I had to get a new playfield for mine delivered. So I don't know how in the world that happens, but it was just the luck of the draw. But we have a lot of love and affinity for this game, and it's I'll never forget the day when I went down to Robin's basement and he just showed me this little project, if you will, that he'd been working on. And he designed a topper for his own Godzilla because, like everybody else, we were just kind of sick of waiting around for Stern to show what they were going to be producing. So he built his own, and it was light years beyond what I thought it would be. And we immediately I stared at that thing, and we kind of broke it apart. I'm like, man, there might be something here, Rob. I could be crazy, but I think you're onto something. So yeah, like we both have a strong affinity for this game, and I think as a business model, if we maintain our honesty with each other and we look at a product and we say, would we buy this? If it was our hard-earned money, and would this be something we want to put in our game? If we can say yes to that question, then I think we're on the right track. So it's been a lot of fun in that regard.
Yeah, that was about 18 months ago, I think, if not 2 years, and we got that topper, both in our hands and a few other people's hands. So a small number of people were fortunate enough to get that, and that was really a learning experience for us. I mean, we put it out there on that pretense that we wanted to kind of just like get a feel for what making toppers was like. It was very limited run, like 25 units, and immediately after that, we started talking about like, well, what's the first topper we want to build? And Alec was in the middle of redoing his Twilight Zone, which is it's come a long way, and we started talking about toppers for Twilight Zone because like there really wasn't anything great out there.
Yeah.
And that project ballooned into what it is today. If you want to show just a little bit of footage of that, Cary, this topper truly is packed. I mean, we've got. Sorry, if you want to go to the Twilight Zone topper.
You just specified this. Here we go.
Yeah. So you're showing off the goodies too soon.
Story.
So the fun thing about this was like, Alec really pushed me and us, frankly, and our entire team to put a lot into this. And I mean, this is a massive topper. There's a massive undertaking that goes into building it. We've shipped 35 to date. We've got orders for 50 that we're filling right now, and a big wait list. Thank you to everyone's patience who's on that. So this has just been fantastic, the feedback we've got on this. But we wanted to go back to Godzilla, right? So we wanted to really figure out, like, how do we make the topper that we wanted to make? And over that time period, we really learned how to actually play the game. And we realized, like, sticking around in the city and building out the monster monitors is, like, how you maximize the score. And you kind of are faced with this challenge of, like, do I want to stay in the city and keep, like, getting the stuff, or do I want to move on? And that was really the design inspiration for this topper for us in terms of like where we started with it.
Yeah, big shout out to whoever the pinside guy was that started that how to score 1 billion thread in pinside, because that thing just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Rob and I are so vastly different in terms of just playing ability and styles, and I'll just walk up, I just like to have a good time, and I'll just run and gun, and he's super deep in the rule sets. And Godzilla was that first game where it really clicked with me, where I understood how in depth that game is and really how to play it. And Rob was pretty instrumental in helping me understand that, as well as that pinside thread. And then it was just about how you can kind of tie a topper into that gameplay.
Totally. So the other thing about that Godzilla that we really love about it is like how different our games are. So like my game is still pretty pure. I mean, I have some of the stuff from like Stumbler and whatnot, but I like, just like with that original topper we did, like I wanted something that paid homage to the artwork, whereas Alec has all the amazing stuff from like T Diddy and all the amazing sculptures that are out there, and that's what's cool about it is that you can make that game however you want. And that's something else we want to do with this topper was like really make it so that this topper you could customize and modularize to your liking. So you guys have seen the Conqueror upgrade. If you're paying attention, we've got some other stuff to show off that really pays tribute to the fact that like this is bolted to most people's floor. They have a style about their play field that they've built, and hopefully this topper can actually allow them to make further decisions to match that as well.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a game that's been modded as much as what I've seen Godzilla. I could be wrong, but it seems
it's followed with just love and passion for any game. If there's like that's why there's not very many mods for games that people don't care for and everything and stuff. So you got a game that's very popular like Godzilla and Twilight Zone, and maybe any other games that you guys might be having ideas for as we speak for future potential toppers. We'll save that for the Q&A as well. But
throw them in there.
I gotta say is that obviously you guys are still new when it comes to like your business in general and releasing products. This is only your second one officially. So it's like, definitely you have the prospect of people like, wanting to send you money for whether it be the deposit or putting it into a wait list. So it's good that as of right now, you have a good track record of delivering. And that's what people would definitely want, is to know that when they're sending money to somewhere, especially in the pinball hobby, there's all kinds of histories of businesses and games. People not getting their money back.
We're on those wait lists too. Just so you know, I'm waiting just like everybody else. I get it.
So they completely understand, guys. They're pinball enthusiasts just like me, just like all of you out there watching this. So they understand that whenever you want something, you want it now. So they definitely want to deliver that, and that's what they're doing with the TZ Topper, and that's what they're going to be doing with the GZ Topper. So
yeah, so let's talk about the design. So we did release this topper, early for us even. Like, we wanted to get it out so you guys knew what was available, but we knew we wanted to make changes. I mean, there was a lot of things, and what was exciting about it was like we got to bring in a lot of people's feedback. I mean, we've got a ton of feedback coming in on Facebook, pinside, email. We've got a little mini design board where we're like talking to people. So let's talk about that. Like, if you want to pull up the V2 V1 thing. I'd love to get into a little bit about like what we're working on here. So the V1 is the original topper here on the right, and you're looking at it flat, guys. We're going to show you here in a minute like what this V2 looks like layered. But one of the main things we got feedback on was around the console. So I think generally people got the console. I mean, we got some funny jokes about it looking like a cake and whatnot. But the bottom line is like we really wanted to fill it out and make it really feel like it was secured to the top of the topper. So you see a pretty big change in the base design. We're also, it was really tall. I mean, frankly, like we wanted to get it more within the line of what Stern's toppers are. So you see that line there that kind of shows that. Working on proportions, working on some detail, a lot of different things. But generally, we're not moving too far away from the original. We're just really working to tweak it. So let's take a look at the topper full on, if you would, Cary. Yeah. So we're going to show you guys a lot of interactivity on this video. You can kind of start to see kind of how that base is really like coming out of the top of the back box, and I think this is a much better feel. It looks less like a crown. It looks less like a cake. It's more substantial up there, and gives it a great wider. It gives it a great feel. So any other thoughts to add to that?
No.
Yeah, so we're still working on proportions. I mean, you'll see the buildings are a lot smaller here. But one of the things before we show you guys the interactivity, we want to talk about this idea of a modular topper. So I'm going to flip to the next view. So you guys have already seen the Conquer upgrade. This is something that's coming in the future. But the idea here is that this is going to be a resin or molded add-on to the front to enhance the console, to have 4 monitors. This is going to be a pretty major upgrade. It's certainly not going to be for everybody, but what's going to be cool about it is that these 4 monitors not only of reflecting the status of whether or not you've destroyed the tanks, but can also do some cool things like, say, like all 4 of them could play video of Paris when you defeat Paris, or video of New York when you defeat New York. So we think we can do some really amazing things with like integrating with the theme here. And we're going to make this open source too. So like if people want to add their own videos or whatnot, they can, like a ton of potential here. So this is just an example of our first, module. We've also got this alien mothership concept, and we're actually going to show you guys this working today, going up and down. But this is going to be an add-on that you can either order initially with your topper, or you can add on after the fact, and you can actually customize this to set it up to go up and down based on really whatever you want. We're also working with some known mod folks in the community. So we've been reaching out to folks that we buy from and talking about how they can potentially upgrade this. So we're going to be working directly with mod makers to sell directly to you or through us, whatever they want to do, upgrade. So this one really is an upgrade to the monuments. So you'd basically be able to very easily replace like the Eiffel Tower and Big Ben and drop these in here, and these would be fully color painted. These are just like early concepts. We're also building out this center area. So we've got this like physical platform and these 5 posts that can be customized to allow for different objects to go within your topper, such as this Godzilla model that is very early concept, but you can kind of see how that comes together, or possibly additional acrylic sets. So we got this awesome artwork from somebody who sent it in and is working on an acrylic set for this, to where basically you can just take off the acrylic that's on the topper and replace it with other things. You can put Mothra and Ghidorah up there if you want. So those are just some examples of how, this topper can be customized to your liking. Mm-hmm. So let's get into the interactivity. Alex is behind the scenes here with us. He's going to man a camera. If you want to pull up that over here on the play field.
Nice shoes, dude.
All right.
I like the Spicolas.
All right. So basically, what we're showing you guys is how each of the lights on the topper works. So right now we've got a light. Can you guys hear me? Okay, Cary?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it could always be better.
Yeah. So as you activate each monitor, it's going to light up these lights on the topper. So this is the Raid. This is the bridge. This is the Tesla Tower. These are a little, I guess, underwhelming from a brightness perspective. We're actually been kind of working with power distribution right now. There's around over 200 LEDs, and we're working on kind of how to get these brighter. But generally speaking, like as you light these, as you move between each city, these are going to light up. We've also got on the destruction jackpot. I'll start with each city. So as you move through each city, you're going to have this fire effect between each monument. So this is New York. You've got London, Paris, and Tokyo. So as you move through each city, those lights stay on and these sections will light up. We've also got a light for destruction jackpot. So when destruction jackpot is lit, you're going to see that entire top section light up. Could you give it a close-up up there, Alex? Can you take it up top? Give it a little bit of a look. Actually, here, let me grab it. Short. Give you guys a feel for how that looks. So during certain moments, you're going to get a light show where it's going to light up all of the fire on the play field. And then we also have another effect, which is the UFO going up whenever. Right now we have this set to the saucer light. So when the saucer light is lit, you're going to see that UFO go up. This can actually be customized to really any light you want on the playfield. So if you wanted to say make this happen whenever Mothra is the Mothra save is lit, you can do that. And then for the flasher settings, I'm going to go into flashers. So when you hit the heat ray, you're going to see a heat ray effect on the topper. So this is another example of a light show. We've got an idea where when you have Mothra lit, these inserts are going to blink purple. A bunch of different light show ideas. But lastly, one of my favorites that we built in is, so we told you guys about how we think like pushing for the monster monitors, like each of the 4 monster monitors is really important. So whenever you've got all 4 monster monitors lit, the topper is actually going to give you this rainbow effect. So this is telling you like, hey, you've done it. You've earned everything you need to earn in this city. It's critical to move on because you've got that 5x multiplier going or whatever it is. Like now's the time. So this is about, this is really like a player's topper to us. Like we want this topper to communicate to you like what's important in the game as much as possible. And this is a really, really exciting feature for us in terms of like kind of highlighting that. And heck, if you're in the bar and you've got this going, people are going to be like, hey, what's going on with that? What's going on with that topper? Which is really cool too.
So I think
it's going to
what's
leave it on like epileptic mode.
so I think what's definitely I'm seeing comments in so far is that about the ability to mod this mod basically and stuff like that. So we can go further into that in the Q&A because I'm sure there's some people out there that kind of need a little more input on that. And for what I can tell you so far,
on
guys.
that theme, did you?
Yeah. So
We're
what I can
laying it
tell you
on pretty thick, Cary.
Yeah, laying on pretty thick. You're modding a mod, but you know what? I mean, what this is also doing is just giving everybody else out there, these other mod makers, the chance to contribute and kind of like, why are my dogs barking?
Totally. And like, we're not, just so everyone knows, like there's no revenue share or anything involved with this. Like we want this to be open source. We want this to be something that people kind of make their own.
Totally. And if people themselves wanted to reach out and they wanted to make their own mod, we're happy to share specs with you. It's not about the dollars and cents. Like if you have a cool idea and you want to make it your own, reach out to us. We're happy to figure out a way to make it happen for you. So yeah, I think to your earlier comment, Cary, we love the idea of embracing the community and kind of making this a collaborative effort. Say what you will, I've had nothing but positive experiences on Pinside. I love like the fact that anytime I have a problem with Twilight Zone, and they happen quite a bit, people are more than happy to help and figure out a way to work through those problems. And I think this is just kind of in that same spirit. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I find fascinating as well, is that other people are willing to join forces on a lot of things, and there's a lot of people out there that would just like to go solo and do their own thing. So you guys being able to reach out and them also reach out, and that's also just kind of rare in my opinion.
They're gonna do it anyway. Usually they're gonna do it. You see what they're doing with Stern Stopper. We all
exactly.
know
Like they're gonna do it anyways. Might as well just be like, hey, you know what? Let's work together on this kind of thing. So that's good to see.
Make it easy for them.
But like, so we've gone over the modularity. Is there anything else on the modulation on there?
No, I mean, we'd be happy to dive into any of that stuff more specifically. I can pull those screens back up. I think, that's, this is where we're at. Like I said, we're not going to be making a lot more design changes. It's going to be a lot about proportionality and figuring out the lighting. One thing you're not seeing is the spike wheel. That's something that we actually had just finished up like a couple of days before that stream. And ultimately, we've got some work to do to make that work. I'm not saying that it's gone, but our latest thinking is that there's basically going to be a base model that's going to have various upgrades that you can either buy at time of purchase or after that fact if you buy it early. And that's something we are going to be working on, that concept. But it's definitely been replaced with this just more standard spike, him coming out of the water, which is really what we were trying to create the effect of him, like, lurking in this city. So we've got some cool ideas we're working on with that still, but that's evolved a little bit.
Yeah. So like for those that don't know, I've got it scrolling across the bottom right here. So if you are interested and you want to get on the waiting list, by all means, follow the link in the video description. Is it a first come, first serve kind of thing, I'm guessing? So if you're definitely interested.
So our wait list kind of works a little bit differently than most. So the way we've done it with Twilight Zone is like we do work the wait list in order, but 50% of each batch, so like let's say a batch is 50, will go directly to the people in order, and then 50% will be available on a specific date and time on our website. So that'll give everybody, including the people on the actual wait list, a chance to get in, and then also the people that get in early, we work through that. So it's been working well so far. We don't take deposits until we actually have like a ship date that's at least 3 months out. And then we take the deposit, and then you get a link to make the final payment once your item's ready to actually ship.
That's good to know also. I didn't know that portion about it, so that's always good to hear.
Cool.
So like a setup date, I mean, like what's to come with this thing? I mean, what are we looking at here?
Yeah. So we're looking to start taking like our first deposits in the August-September timeframe. Just like with Twilight Zone, we usually get about 5 or 10 units in actual paying customers' hands, just to make sure like the shipping process works out. They're not biased in terms of like giving us feedback. So you're going to start seeing some units getting out there in September, and then a larger bulk of orders will start coming after that.
Okay. And we'll be at Chicago Expo as well.
Yeah, we will be at Expo showing this off. Yeah,
it's going to be like a Conqueror's edition, like ready to go for everybody to see, like the top tier, fully modded out.
I don't know about that one. Yeah.
Oh, come on. I want to see everything on there.
Yeah. No, we could have a prototype. We want to get this bad boy going before we really get into that, but it's definitely on the roadmap. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Is there any other information that you want to get out before we start doing a Q&A or anything?
Have you talked about the lighting sensors and the options of being
Well, I did. Yeah, a little bit. So let me go ahead and hit my screen real quick. Would you,
Yeah.
Cary? So we really want it because, this is a modular topper in the sense that we want people to be able to mod it. We really wanted to make it so that it, like, say, if you did want to add that Mothra and you wanted to light that Mothra, you would have the ability to do that. So there's 8 photo sensors that are going to sit on a plate underneath the PCB, the board in the middle of your play field. So basically you remove it, you put this plate into it, and then you rescrew it in, and it just sits underneath there. And you'll see, if you look real closely inside those circles and those squares, there's a little photo resistor in there that works kind of like a night light. But there's 4 or 5 of these that are going to be available to you to kind of put wherever you want. So like with the UFO going up and down, we're going to recommend you put that maybe on the alien saucer, but you can put it wherever you want. But there's going to be a couple with jacks on the back for lighting opportunities where you can add stuff. So this is pretty innovative, I think, in the sense of, like, we're making a custom board, we're building in a ton of sensors. Shout out to Davey at Stumbler and Brad at, what was the alien console guy?
You're killing me. I have no idea.
There's an amazing apron for Alien, and Brad and his company kind of gave us some advice early on. But anyway, like, there's a ton we can do here with this, and this is all going to come kind of with your toppers. So, like, if you don't want to use the extra sensors, so be it. But you're going to have those available to you.
So this
In
is
my defense, we met a lot of people at TPF. Brad was one of many, and he made a strong impression. So I hope he doesn't watch this.
So this is a non-invasive mod topper or something that you put on your pinball machine.
That's correct. Yeah. And it's not gonna like, it's not able to know, like, if you've got attack or the attack multi-ball, like, it doesn't know that. It can only know if a light's on or off. But we are building in some programming where it can know, like, if it's actually on versus, like, a wipe across the play field. So, like, the topper's not going crazy all the time. There's some customization there. And definitely a lot of possibilities in terms of customization.
All right. Well, I think some people have been asking here. I think the big thing always is, of course, is the price. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So when we launched this, our commitment was sub 900, and we're still there. Frankly, like, because we are doing this base model thing with upgrades, like, we want to get that base model as low as possible to get everybody in there. If you don't want the spaceship, or if your ceiling's too short for it, you're going to be able to take that out of there, and you're going to have this, like, core piece. So we're still, looking to make it not like Twilight Zone, which, has a lot in it. We want to make this very affordable from an entry perspective, and then you can kind of take it where you want. Obviously, the screen thing is going to add on quite a bit, but hey, it's already going to communicate all that stuff, so it's not necessarily needed.
All right. So, I mean, that's definitely what everybody wants to know is, like, okay, what's this thing going to cost me? And I like the ability that for those of you out there that don't want to pay, like, a large lump sum up front, you can always get the base model. And then it's modular. You can pay monthly or over time or whatever to upgrade it and add all the little extra features to it. That's the joy of it being modular, is that you don't have just the base model and that's it, is that you can work it up over time.
Yep.
So that's good. So anything else that we need to discuss before we go into the Q&A?
No, let's do it.
All righty, guys. Chat.
I figured the price was going to be the very first question.
What questions do you have for the gentleman here, guys? Let's see what we get. Everybody's tapping away. Or you did such a great job and you answered everything that they could possibly think of. Question for Rob and Alec: are you hiring, and what are the hours?
Chris, you're always welcome here, buddy. We know Chris. We love Chris. He actually is turned into a hell of a local player here. So there was talk of at one point being sponsored by the Electric Playground, and he turned us down. So now he's asking for a job. So how the tides have turned there.
Come by and visit us. Yeah, we're actually in our new space in South City. So if you guys are around, we'd love to have you.
Oh, Charles, I'm sorry I missed your question here. There wasn't a question mark. Will there be an option list?
What does that mean?
I guess like
at checkout, I'm guessing he's asking.
Oh yeah, so assuming that's what you're asking, like at checkout, you'll be able to pick like what add-ons you want, and then if you're in early and stuff comes later, you can always just add it on. We're going to make sure everything's fully backward compatible.
And if it hasn't been vocalized, but like one of the reasons we wanted to do this live is to get obviously live feedback.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any ideas on things that need to be tweaked, changed, or ideas that we haven't thought about, even if it's just as simple as scalability of some of the models or whatever, we're open book right now.
Yeah, and there's some good photos on the website too. If you guys click that same link for the wait list, there's actually some nice photos in case you're having trouble seeing it.
All right, well, here you go. You have the lights and sculpt for the cities, but you're missing Planet X. Will that be added later?
Yeah, so we're not going to be doing a ton of sculpt stuff ourselves. Those sculpts that you saw were done by a mod maker that you guys, many of you are probably familiar with. He didn't want to be contacted for a wait list too soon, so he asked to keep his name off of it. But it's really going to be up to what people come up with, and of course, dealing with some of the restrictions. But that particular module can be adjusted forward and backward. So like if you wanted to add a sculpt that had a quarter inch or a half an inch of depth, that
you're
could
talking
definitely
about
be
the
done.
UFO.
Is that what he was talking
Yeah,
about?
I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, the UFO. Yeah.
All right. This one says, what restrictions did you have due to licensing concerns? I'm sure there were some cool ideas you could not implement.
Yeah. So, we're trying to be as respectful as we can of the licensing situation. I mean, as a company, we want to secure licenses eventually, and we're on a path to that. We're having some early conversations, not about Godzilla, don't get me wrong. But yeah, we're not going to be, pushing those boundaries with what we sell directly. So some of the stuff you saw, will be available on the marketplace by others, and we encourage people to build things for this. But that is, with our company in particular, a restriction that we're adhering to.
We're taking this as a long view approach for a business, and anytime you're making products for somebody else's products, I think it behooves you to try to do it in the right way. And we're trying to be, as Robin said, respectful of that fact. And
so there's actually two screw holes in the top of the topper, I assume for the manufacturer's topper. So there's no modifications you have to do to your topper. They're just going to screw into two holes that are there, nice and firmly.
So no invasiveness on these.
What is this guy talking about?
Yeah, I was gonna ask it, but Rob was already on it. So it was asking, how does it secure to the top of the
I just want to move past the legal conversation as quickly as humanly possible.
So it's still, when it comes to install, guys, basically it's still not invasive. There's already pre-drilled holes for, I guess, the topper that they built and stuff like that you're going to be utilizing for your topper. So still nothing to drill, that you're not damaging your cabinet. You're utilizing what the cabinet already has.
There's actually a hole too for the wires to stick through, which is really nice. So it's very clean.
Yeah.
All right. Where can you put
permanent changed?
Where can you put a sculpted Godzilla on the topper shown? I don't understand where/how to put it.
Yeah. Do you have that?
I can bring it up on your screen right here, the layout for it, because I know you had a picture, but I don't know if you had anything live action for it.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna you got the free cam.
Yeah, go ahead and bring the free cam over here real quick. I can just kind of show them.
Whenever that free cam comes up, it's black right now.
You got it face down then.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, the phone.
It's not your phone, Alex.
You got it?
Okay, bring it up now. What? Okay, you're free roam up.
All right. So, can you see down in there?
Yep.
So there's a platform here, and you'll see that this Godzilla spike thing would remove from 3 screws, and that creates a nice opening. It's about 50 centimeters deep, which, sorry, I'm in centimeter mode right now, but it's enough for this guy to sit in there, and there's enough room for a couple figures to go into that space, and that actually can be raised and lowered as well with a little bit of work. So that's how that works. And then this is pretty gnarly back here, but all this stuff's going to be fixed up, but you can kind of see how this the alien mothership kind of bolts onto the back. And then a lot of these like screw holes, for example, that one up there can be removed, and that's where like the Mothra could be added.
Okay. So I'm guessing on your website you're going to have like images or possibly even videos to put up to show people probably how to install these or like how it would look like after installing. I think visuals are definitely a big help for a lot of people in this hobby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and those would come like with each specific upgrade. You know, if they're made for like, you know, public purchase, you know, instructions would come with each upgrade.
Yeah, I think that's been a big learning for us too, especially with the Twilight Zone toppers. Learning, you know, we almost had an assumption that if you bought one of these, you would have a pretty in-depth knowledge of how, you know, machines work and how to tinker on things, but that is not the case. We're coming to find out. So, yeah, we will be documenting everything. We'll be creating videos, and we will be here to help in any shape, way, or form whenever people need us. So.
Can the topper be updated so you can use lights to show Godzilla or Mecha Godzilla multi-ball is active if the sculpts or decals are mounted in the topper?
So like for like Terra Mecha Godzilla, it's like absolutely yes, right? Because there's a light dedicated to it. I'd have to think about those two specifically. There is the ability to like use two of the sensors together to create kind of like a scenario situation where it's like, if this is on and this is on, then do this. So that's possible, but for those two multi-balls, I'm not entirely sure. Like if we could just like flat out say like that's active, but potentially.
Yeah. But your point being is if it's a solid light, anyone could use it.
Yeah, if it's a solid light, you're basically just like placing this little sensor underneath the playfield and zip tying the little cord to the other cord, so you're not even having to like splice into anything. There may be a couple exceptions to that in terms of like what you want to do, but yeah, generally.
I mean, for those that are familiar with like Penn Stadium, this is not like that. It's the same to the equivalency of is that it's mirroring what the machine is doing, but the way it detects it is different. Whereas like Penn Stadium is wired versus what this was going to be doing is photo sensing. It's got a photo sensor on it that detects when the light is on or off. And it's going to basically light up the topper or interact with what the game is doing.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the next question we have here, or is it? Someone puts all said and done. What is the total price with all pieces?
Well, there's an unlimited amount of pieces, so it's kind of hard to say.
Well, what if you had everyone? Well, what do you mean everyone? Everyone!
I mean, like, I don't know how much the Conqueror upgrade is going to cost. I mean, it could cost $300 or $400, to be honest with you. Like, it's going to have its own computer. It's going to have 4 screens. It's going to be custom molded, possibly custom painted. So like, let's just say that costs $300 and the topper costs $800 and the up and down thing costs $100. You know, I don't think like, look, Twilight Zone, $1,629. It's got a hand bent habit trail. It's got this eyeball thing. It's got over 4,000 parts. It takes 12 hours to make. It's a beast. This is not that topper. So like, we're not trying to build necessarily another $1,600 topper, but I don't know right now.
That again, learnings from TPF. One of the big takeaways for us is people wanted something sub $1,000. That's what they wanted. Our goal was to hit that. And once we started getting into these ideas, and like we have a hard time stopping ourselves sometimes on what's possible. When you start realizing, oh shit, like what they also want is these 3D mods. They want these 3D sculpts and they want these add-on pieces, and then costs start skyrocketing. So we had to figure out a way to hit multiple price points.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's a good thing that you're giving people an option to get the topper at a base model, but you can always make it badass over time. I mean, the thing is, I think a lot of us have the issue with topper prices being just crazy, and we don't really get much out of them. They don't move, they don't do anything. It's like, really, you're going to charge us $2,000 or $3,000 for something that doesn't really do anything. So as long as I think the pinball community feels like, they're getting their money's worth because it's interactive, it moves, it does all this other stuff, then that's where price becomes a little bit more room for subjectivity. And I think that's what I praised you whenever I saw your TZ topper was that it was mechanical. I'm like, good. I'm like, if you want to bring people in, I was like, definitely have mechanical features on your topper. I'm pretty sure anybody that's a topper fan, they like mechanical features. That's why people love pinball is because it's mechanical.
Right. My gut, Terry, man, my gut tells me what's going to happen is people are going to make their own mods. People are going to start sharing those files on Pinside. And they're not going to be coming to us for these little add-ons. They're going to be going to the Pinside community for those add-ons. And we're perfectly fine with that. You come up with something cool, share it. Let's see it.
We need to answer this one. This is important. What? And $2. Like, what's $2?
That's his thing. He always does that. I'm not. It's always $2. He's always throwing those two. He's got these bunch of $2 bills. He's got like a stack of cash of all $2 bills. I've seen it. It's crazy.
It'll absolutely work on your getaway pin.
Well, it'll sit up there.
Yeah. Well, you can.
If I could hook up,
I would love to know
to
what you do
features.
with the. Yeah.
It'll work. I'll make it work.
Take off the. Yeah, it's already got a topper on it. I can see it in Cary's.
Is the topper stable or durable enough it can withstand lots of nudging?
Well, this is a very nudge-heavy machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're not worried about that.
Do me a favor. Just go ahead and do a kick to the front of that machine right there, just to prove a point. That ain't nothing. No, drop kick it.
Don't kick it. Deadlift it.
Yeah, that's right. Cabinet, coffin drop it, just like.
This guy he's a nudger, so trust me, it's secure.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be put on his machine otherwise.
No, we've definitely done a lot of testing on that in terms of like how it's built, and we've used nylon posts in some cases and like metal posts in some cases to kind of deal with where those high impact zones are. So we feel good about it. And we've had a couple breaks here and there, especially during shipping with Twilight Zone, and we fully replace everything if there's any issues. So like we want to make you happy, so not too concerned about that.
All right, this is a good question because I know that I got a lot of feedback from the TZ Topper in this regard. Is that you have people buying the TZ Topper merely to have just sitting in their house as a nice, conversational piece. They don't even put it on their pinball machine. So I guess we have people that may be curious if this is another one of those type of things where they could just have it sitting on their house somewhere as a conversational piece.
First and foremost, big shout out to Stud Randall. That's my boy. He doesn't own a pinball machine because his wife has given him shit about it, and that is my mission. Is to get that man a pinball machine first and foremost, and if he gets one, definitely he's going to be getting a topper. But if not, yeah, it's perfectly fine on its own.
Yeah. So what these photo resistors are doing is just creating a closed connection on the wire. So like hooking up a switch to anything. We if there's enough demand for it, we might just sell like a little $20 bank of switches, and you just hook up that cord there and just flip the switch. So if you want to make that UFO go up and down to your heart's delight. You'll be able to do that.
Yeah. That was another yet again TPF learning. We did not expect people to be buying the Twilight Zone topper to be putting on their bar.
I saw it. I was like, I don't have a Twilight Zone yet until they remake it. But like, it's like whenever I see that topper, I was like, I'd like to have that thing. That looks cool. Just to have it just going around every once in a while. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that remake ain't happening, man. Oh wait.
So like, is there any other questions out there, guys? Anything that needs to be satiated at this moment in time? I'm getting text messages from everybody.
Anything we were thinking we were going to get that we didn't?
Yeah, like any suggestions? People they're looking for feedback also. So
please,
none of you Pinside users are out there, really?
They're
all up on the forums, but you put them on a YouTube video stream and they get all quiet.
I got a feeling people are going to be watching the recording and have some thoughts to share.
Of course.
Yeah, we got a Pinside thread up, so definitely hit us up there or wherever.
Yeah, we got thick skin, so by all means, hit it with us.
How heavy is the topper?
I think it's probably around 6 pounds right now, I think Twilight Zone was around 10, so it's pretty light. Yeah, it's not too heavy. Yeah.
And so I've gotten this a couple of times, and it's obviously a question that I'm going to ask guys because everyone's always curious about the future. They want to know what's next. And we can say this for the end or whatever, but it's always one of those things that you're obviously not going to tell us what it is like any other manufacturer. They're not going to say, "Oh yeah, this is what's next." That's not going to happen, guys. But
I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
So as of right now,
literally had this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense to have an open list of what we're working on, and knowing that things can change and nothing's promised, right? But what would be the negative of having 100% transparency? Like, I don't know. It's a conversation we have all the time.
Like if you wanted to divulge it, I'm like, all right, you do what you want and everything. But I'm sure people also just want to know if there's a game that you're going to be making or working on topper wise that they've got in their current collection. They're like, okay, I need to start saving now or whatever kind of thing.
And that's our point too. You know, if me as a consumer, I always wish I had a crystal ball and could kind of see what was coming down, so I knew what to save for. I mean, I don't think there's. You know, we've heard Ghostbusters, we've heard Indiana Jones, we've heard what's the other big one? Not Stranger Things.
Ghostbusters and Indiana come up a lot.
Jaws.
Kind of list. The difficult thing is like we physically have to own the game. Like we have to have one of the games in order to be able to test it, and we have a limited collection space in both of our homes, and right now neither of our collections I think are things that we'd be designing for. So we either have to have somebody locally donate a pen for 3 months so we can have it as a testing stage, or we're going to have to we'll have to pony up and buy one of these.
It's kind of funny. We've actually got 2 other designs underway, and we're working on getting a machine to address that issue. And it's like, we hear this from Stern, they got a bunch of stuff in the hopper. It's like we do too. And like whether we get it out there is going to be based on kind of how things are going in general. And then one reason it's hard to tell people about it and be transparent, because then it just creates a lot of pressure for us to actually get that thing out within, God forbid, 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So we've got a few things underway, but we have been getting a lot of feedback from people. So definitely, if you guys have things you want, let us know, because we're keeping track of that.
If you can't tell, we are highly influenceable. So
Is it portable and can I take it to the movies? Matt, what the hell? I mean, like I guess if you hooked it up to a 12-volt battery maybe or something, you probably could bring it along with you.
Well, one thing we definitely do is we do not skimp on packaging. So it will come in a custom designed badass box that you would want to take to the movies with you.
Yeah. So, and that was one thing I gave them.
Pack it up.
Gave them props on, guys, was the Twilight Zone box. A lot of people, they ship out boxes and it's just like, all right, you can just throw it away. But then you get a box like that and you're like, well, shit. Now I got to find a place to display this because it looks awesome kind of thing,
Alex got a good idea for the Godzilla box. It's going to require us to get artwork just for the box, which I'm not too happy about, but it's too good of an idea to pass. So I'm excited about it. We got a $10 style here.
Thank you very much there, Todd. Todd's the man. Todd, you going to get you one of these for your Godzilla? You own a Godzilla, don't you? You should. So I forgot. I had a question I thought that was going to be, or someone asked one that was kind of like, oh, I could. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. So you've dabbled in old school, got Twilight Zone, and now you've dabbled in modern. So are you saying that future titles you could go either way? You could go back to doing an old game, or is it only modern for now on?
Definitely not only modern for now on. No.
Okay.
Those old games, man. There's so much open opportunity and wasted real estate in so many ways. I love Bally Williams games. I in terms of just the types of games I gravitate towards, I'm definitely more the old school feel. But from an ownership standpoint, I respect the new games because they don't break. So I got one foot in both areas.
Oh, well, how about one for
I'm a
TNA?
huge TNA fan. Yeah.
I love that game. So I'm just like, I kind of curious to let you guys just go.
That's not a bad idea.
It's a lot of it is going to come down to how can it be special, right? Because we're not going to be as innovative as Twilight Zone, or we're not going to be modular with every topper. Everything's not going to be some big thing. But with TNA, I mean, that's an amazing game for so many different reasons. How could we actually enhance the game with a topper?
Oh, I got a few ideas.
You got a few ideas?
He's already I've got some ideas we could talk about after this stream. So, does anyone know how they're wired? I would not want to drill any holes. So they went over this earlier, guys.
No, so no holes. No holes.
No, keep the drill in the box.
This is non-invasive. And it's the same ordeal with the Twilight Zone. That was also non-invasive. You use the already drilled-in cabinet bolt holes on the top of the cabinet to keep the topper on top. All the wires and everything were non-invasive. If you wanted to revert back to your original cabinet, original machine, there would be no detection of the next owner detecting that you installed this topper because you had to drill some extra holes and everything. They're very aware of that, as well as me. I'm not a big fan of causing permanent damage, quote, to a machine to install a mod or an upgrade. Thank you very much there, Paul. Where's the chat wrench? Oh, I guess I could give you a wrench if you want. He is one of my. He is like one of the very. I think he's actually my very first patron. Money. He's my very first patron
right now. Nice.
All right, Paul. I gave you a wrench, but you start abusing it. I will take you down. But yeah. So guys, any other questions? So we can already see that they look like they're very entertained by the possibility of doing a TNA topper. Oh, James, where were you at last night? I could be taking a look.
Yeah,
they're located in St. Louis. There, James. They were there at TPF showing off the TZ topper. They're going to be at the upcoming Chicago Expo showing off. This topper. Obviously, hopefully they can show off like everything. Give us the Conquer edition, guys. Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Make a topper where a traffic stop goes bad.
Oh, jeez.
Traffic stop going bad. That's every time I play that game. So yeah, like you definitely. It looks like you have a lot of fans for TNA. So it's a possibility, guys. They haven't said that. Yeah, that's their next game, but they seemed interested and entertained by that possibility. They know it's a game that a lot of people really enjoy. They enjoy
Luke,
it. So
Luke, hit us up. Let's make it happen.
There you go. So no excuses there, James. You could have responded to my text. Sorry, just joined the stream. Are there any plans to make one for James Bond? They need a larger love missile on top of that back box because the one inside
I happen to own one of those guys.
Will not lie and say we don't have
a big old freaking missile just shaking around.
Yeah.
Innovative, baby.
Yeah. Like, is it vibrating?
We've got a really good idea for a Bond topper. So.
Oh, how many staff do you employ?
So it's Alec and I, and then we've got 6 guys that handle assembly. We've got Alex here in the background who's handling all the programming and the engineering on this. And so I don't know, almost 10, not full time all necessarily, but decent sized team.
In a pretty quick ramp up.
Hell yeah! So like I gotta ask. I mean, did you expect such I guess great feedback from your work? I mean, was it kind of like, all right, here we go, let's cross our fingers and here we go, or what?
Yeah.
You haven't said anything nice about Godzilla.
Yes, I have. I was like, I didn't even know it did that. I was like, yeah.
I'm just not mad. I'm messing with you. No, so Twilight Zone, universally positive feedback, and like a lot of love or appreciation for the price too. I think that was one thing we were like, well, we were nervous about, but when we priced it out, it's like that's what it's going to be, and it's going to be what it is. With Godzilla, we knew we didn't love everything about it, so it's been one of those things where it's like really fun to get everybody's feedback, and I think it's made a big improvement in terms of like I was actually like all about the crown and like leaning into that kind of bowl shape, and I think it's come a long way. So I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Godzilla was more nerve-wracking than we would ever care to admit because you had to hit that post button way before we were really in our own minds ready to do that. Twilight Zone, we felt like that's the only game I've ever owned multiple times. I sold, bought it again because I missed the damn thing.
Yeah.
And again, when we were designing that topper, I knew if he leaned into the things that people love about that game, there's no way that it wasn't gonna be a success. And I think, to your point, adding those mechanical elements is what pushed it over the edge. And we were down in that basement just brainstorming, what could be possible. And when that gumball idea kind of hit, like, wouldn't it be cool if? I think we both just knew that if we could figure that out, that we were going to have a hit on our hands. So.
Yeah, because that's the first thing when you showed it to me over the internet, like, oh yeah, here's a topper. I'm like, okay, it looks good. And then I saw that ball go. I'm like, what? And so it was the same ordeal whenever I showed the guy that was putting it on his topper for the first time on top of his game. He saw the trailer for it and he's like, oh, it looks cool. And then the ball comes around. He was like, oh, okay, that's awesome. It's like, yeah, so that was the extra, icing on the cake for a lot of people on that one. So here's the thing.
If you can't tell, he's the engineering brains. And that moment, that day when I went down to the workshop and we had the prototype of that thing, when the first time I saw that thing go, I mean, I was just, my eyes lit up and I was like, take my money. I was like, I'll be happy. If nothing else, I would just be happy to have these, this thing on the top of my machine at the end of the day.
So this will be kind of interesting. I guess they could put you in touch with Scott Denisi, and he can do the coding and stuff for a topper that you guys developed. I mean, that's
like I think for TNA, what's up, Gil? I think for TNA, like we'd really want to like figure out how to make some magic there, and if we had that integration, that would be key.
Yeah. We play nice in the sandbox with everybody, so by all means, get us the hookup with Scott.
So there you go, Gil. By all means, have Scott reach out to the Electric Playground here, and then see if they can make the magic happen. They're on board.
Yeah.
Been waiting on the list since Texas Pinball Expo for Twilight Zone topper. I missed the last cut. Will it be difficult to get on the list for Godzilla?
Well, run that banner again, Cary.
You can get on the list now. The cool thing about the way our wait list works is like we work through it based on the order, but we also make half of every batch like first come, first serve. So if you want to be around like typically on a Saturday at 1:00 and hit that refresh button, like you can get in. With the last batch, I think it was gone in a couple of minutes, but it's like a majority of the people that got a hold of me like got in, because they just showed up at the right time. So we're trying to make it so it's like, you can both kind of wait it out and get in on periodic moments.
All right. So evidently, Todd, he wants one for punishment.
I haven't even seen that fucking game.
It's perfect as is.
Oh man!
I don't know, that tuxedo black cabinet's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like we got it black all the way down. I'm like, all right, no one's gonna see it, but all right. But we're creeping up on the hour mark here, guys. So if there are any other questions, let's get them in here right now. Otherwise, don't want to take up any more of these guys' time or anything. But like I said, this is the time to either give your 2 cents on things that you would like to see on this topper, maybe some modifications, changes, or whatever. It's always subject of change, or at least right now it is. If the change in their heads is valid. I don't know how to word that. I'm speaking on their behalf, and I shouldn't be. But but yeah, they're listening for feedback. So if there is a large amount of feedback on a particular thing, then they're definitely open for changes. Correct?
Check out the photos. Okay. Check out the photos on the website. You guys can kind of get a better feel for it. Love to hear what you think.
All right. And so they have a thread.
Go to our pinside.
They have a thread on pinside.
Yeah.
I guess I'll try to find that thread, and I'll put even the link to that thread in the video description, guys. And by all means, if you have a pinside account, then feel free to go in there and voice your opinion that way through that avatar. So if there's anything else that you guys would like to talk about, or that we didn't touch base with the topper, if you want to go through what this topper looks like again by showing off, I mean, I think some people probably are late arrivers. If you want to show what it looks like with it all lit up and moving around, the light show with the fire, and then showing that doing its thing up there.
Yep.
Rainbow mode.
Straight for the fucking rainbow.
It's Pride Month.
Cary, thank you so much. We've had a great time.
That's great. I mean, I'm glad that, like I said, this is the first for me on a couple of notes of the fact that I'm bringing people on to, essentially give an interview like this and everything and stuff, as well as first time for using the software, which it looks like it's going pretty well, guys. I'm guessing those of you that have watched the stream, has everything looked and sounded okay in your opinion? No issues or anything on that? It looks, for what I can tell, it looks pretty good. I'm not listening directly.
Like you gave a perfectly serviceable interview.
So I believe I've got the thread here, and I'll add that to the video description, guys. So if you want to check out the thread, go through it, then feel free to do so. Leave some feedback. But anything else? One last chance, going once. What is this? Adding a fan in the back of the fabric to make it look like flames would be cool. There's something.
G money.
Yeah. With fabric. Oh, all right.
Yeah, just
like
kind of
little.
Dude, that's what I
I
was
like how
telling
we
you
both
about.
did the jazz fingers at the same time right there, Rob. Like, oh.
You know, the 3D flames is not a hard thing to mimic. You know, that's a pretty easy add-on. I think also that's another thing that people could easily do themselves too. It's not difficult to do, right?
Yeah.
Just get some good cotton and some flame.
Foo Fighters, band topper. No, they're only going to do one of those, and it's going to be for mine, guys. Sorry, I didn't want to have to break the news to you.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
It's
I tell you that one ain't happening. Neither of us are a fan of the band, unfortunately. I love that game though, man. That thing's a flow monster. But I don't think that one's next.
Get it back to pinside #1, and we'll think about it.
Oh, okay. All right. Everybody get to the forums. Come on, we got to talk this game up. Could you do a topper for Star Trek, either TNG or the movie one?
Star Trek's come up a few times. Monster Bash has come up quite a bit. So a lot of those ones that have like amazing top, like Ghostbusters too. It's like amazing toppers where the aftermarket's just insane. TNG, I guess, doesn't apply there, but yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah, it's hard to compete with CGC and their toppers too.
Yeah, they do.
Bally Williams, any titles?
Any titles that stand out to you that might want to do a topper for them?
Indiana Jones is definitely like, I think we could do something cool with the ball there. I'm kind of hesitant to do more custom habit trails, but that one in particular could be cool.
Yeah, thing's been a pain in the butt.
There you go. All right. So, if there are no other questions, and then we're going to be bringing this stream to a close, ladies and jelly spoons. Okay, so now James is like, Addams Family?
Ooh. Dude, we've heard that one a few times.
We like that one.
Yeah.
I did a playfield swap on an Addams Family. I'd love to keep the love going.
And that game is not
the very
fun
first
for a
game I owned.
swap.
So.
No, those pops were brutal.
Like 5. Gosh.
Yeah.
Like I just did the... What game did I just do that had 4 of them? I was like, my God, at least it's not Addams Family.
Yeah, Addams is interesting because it comes with the topper, right? Like, I'd be curious. It's curious to get that so often because I wonder how many people don't have the original topper anymore, or it's.
Or it's like just like clouded up or cracked or broken. I mean, a lot of the times people buy games and it's missing the topper, or it's just beyond repairing or whatever and stuff.
That's an interesting one, and that one is one where I feel like you really have to be respectful of the property too.
All right, so Rich Ice, they answered this earlier. How is it mounted? Basically, you're going to be utilizing the holes at the top of the back box that are already there from the factory. So there's going to be no invasive action on this topper. You're not going to be creating any holes or drilling or doing any damage to your machine for this topper.
Is that the Iceman? Is that the Iceman?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
Rich Ice, it could be. They're both, rich, so... But all right, guys. So I think that's everything. Is there a limit? Okay, there's always one more question right there at the end, right here. But I want to get everybody in here. Is there a limited amount of toppers you'll make?
Not for this one. Not for Twilight Zone. We're gonna just kind of build it to the demand. I mean, eventually we'll probably announce like, hey, we're doing our last X. But hopefully that's a long way from now.
Yeah, we'll make people aware.
And that's the good thing about bringing up the legal actions again is that since you don't have to worry about licensing and everything, then you don't have to worry about licensing running out and having to re-up on it and stuff like that. So that kind of helps you out on being able to extend the life of being able to make them at your own accord.
Yeah.
All right, lots of pins will be great for a
Knight's
candidate for topper. The Magic seems to be more animations, the better. Black Knight is a great example. Yeah, and that's, like I said, it's because it's mechanical. If that Black Knight on top of Black Knight didn't do anything, it just stood there, it would look cool. But what made it be cool was the fact that it moved its head and the voice went along with it, kind of thing. All right, guys. Well, we're going to end the stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to watching this. Thank you very much to the Electric Playground, Rob and Alec, for joining me on this stream and answering all these questions, giving all the feedback, and showing everybody what you're capable of doing. And by all means, like I said right here, follow the link in the description if you want to get in line to get your very own Godzilla topper. You can get one and mod it like crazy and make it look awesome more than it already does. So, Rob and Alec, I'm going to hand it over to you. By all means, plug away on anything that you got.
Well, Cary, thank you for hosting us. Big shout out to our families. You know, this has been a journey, and we're really deep into it now.
Yeah.
So Margaret, Megan, love you guys. So thanks for everything, and thanks, guys, for supporting us along the way.
Yeah. Appreciate you having us, Cary. Anytime we can do it again.
All right, guys, that is it. Thank you for tuning into the stream, and until next time, peace out.